this show. Only this show has the power to be so weird, so crazy, and so amazing at the same time. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeekMixer here to give you guys my review on episode 4 of Doom Patrol. And guys, I really don't know where to start. I mean, seriously, we already knew that Doom Patrol didn't shy away from the adult content, but this episode takes it up to a whole new level. And I mean a whole new level. I don't really even know where to begin. All I can say is, you guys remember when they went to Danny the Street to find Chief at the end of the first season and brought Flex along, and before going into the white space, their first attempt caused that wrong flex of the sex orgasm? Well, let's just say that was brought to a new level, and man, I did not expect this, and I did not expect some of the Easter eggs that were dropped onto this. It was insane. I seriously couldn't even know where to start. I guess all we can say is the best place to start was in the fact that last episode, episode 3, Dorothy was playing hide and seek and accidentally broke Danny the Brick, who was Danny the Street until what happened in the season finale. And this episode was all about trying to get him to be a street again, but it was more to it than that. I mean, yes, we all know what makes Danny so great is the power of the positivity of the Dannyzens. And you know what? Another thing about this episode is a great way to send a message out there to all the people for the LGBT community out there, because that's what this episode can also represent. Because here's the thing, during this episode, when Cyborg came back, he talked with that agent from last season. I forget his name, Morin or someone, I can't remember his name, but you see the picture to know who I'm talking about here. And he talked about how the world hasn't changed much, and he's kind of right. But as we all know, it's just a slow progress and stuff, because really, that's just how the world is. And we as humans, we're not that I mean, we are intelligent to a degree, but at the same time, we often continue to make some of these same big mistakes that we think we should learn from, but it just happens. I mean, I wish we could say we can do better, and no doubt we can do better, because I'm not saying I don't have big faith in humanity. I have a lot of strong faith in humanity, but at the same time, I can't ignore reality that we continue to run into all these different types of evil and stuff. But there's one thing I've learned, is that even though we're going to continue to run into these types of people that cause us to doubt the world, we can't give up on ourselves and doing our best to continue going out there to be better than some of these other people who don't want to be. This goes from prejudice, from LBGT community, to racism, to all other stuff that makes people be prejudiced just because we're all different and stuff. We're all different, yes, but that's what makes us so special, and that's something I want everybody to try to remember anytime it comes to that, because I'm sure we're all smart enough to know that yes, we are all weird in our own way and all different in our own way, but that's what makes us special. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because that's definitely the message that Morgan, or whatever his name is, was saying in the Cyborg when Cyborg came to him and telling him about Ronnie, who he was with those last 2 episodes. Which, once again, I hope we can see Ronnie again. But now, moving straight on, it was back to the Dannyzens, who came to Doom Manor, so they could help Danny get better, and they decided to throw a party and stuff. At first, though, the party was kind of slow and stuff. Dorothy was allowed to be a part of it until it was bedtime, as it were. But let me just say, the performance of this character as Dorothy is amazing. How she is just so great at her role as an actor, The casting they did for her was awesome, and I definitely loved the few moments she was spending with Rita, and also when she started the party by singing that song I remember from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and that girl's voice was just so beautiful. that little kid, anytime I see that little kid and her being the little girl that she is, it just puts a smile on my face for that girl. She is amazing. The acting is phenomenal, but what can we all say we're not impressed by that? This casting for this entire show has been off the charts here. But then they started getting into the adult section where Chief was pretty much trying to tell Dorothy not to be involved in it because she was wanting her to not see the adult side of things. And well, let's just say at the end of it all, first because of the persuasion of the candle maker, who is that dark imaginary friend she had, who she makes wishes on, and he does awful things like slaughter people or do bad things. Well, he persuaded her to go to the party during where kids shouldn't be allowed to see these sort of things. And yeah, it came to the conclusion that Dorothy doesn't want to grow up. Well, I will just say Dorothy unfortunately saw the sides of adults that kids shouldn't see at that age yet and everything. Because, yeah, you may think you not want to grow up, but being an adult, but there's always good things and bad things about being an adult. Just as there can be some bad things and good things for the kids in life. It just depends on what direction it's going in here. So I really do hope somewhere down the line Dorothy will see there are positives to being an adult. Because really the thing about being kids is most of us, we all have a childhood that may be different, but as we grow into adults we all make our own paths and stuff here. So I hope that comes back to her to make her understand. But until then, though, I do like her as a kid, and I do want to see it more shown here. But also here that showed for Dorothy was how her father had been keeping her a prisoner. And yeah, we can all understand why Chief did it, but at the same time, he was kind of neglecting a childhood for Dorothy. I mean, sure, people out there in the world during those times, and even now, probably wouldn't accept her because of her ape face and stuff. But with the Dannysons, I'm sure, as we saw, they didn't care about that. They liked her for who she was. And the way I see it, all this time, Danny could have brought her out there, especially around the time of when the Doom Patrol first met Dorothy. She could have been out there having fun with all of them. Maybe not to the point of all that partying adult stuff that they do, but still, yes. She had a right to have some fun, because that part where also Flex with his flexing abilities allowed her to fly and stuff. It was all nice and everything. And I was like, Isles, how could you let her be left alone and not be with the Dannysons? Oh boy. But luckily, Danny, after having a heart-to-heart talk with Dorothy about acknowledging that he is Dorothy's friend, but unfortunately he was more than that. He was also her prisoner, which was something Danny didn't want to be at all. And he finally confronted Niles and telling him that this is wrong. We got to stop this. So one's got to wonder, what will that do going forward? I don't know, but we'll find out as time goes on here. And speaking of Danny, well, he's decided not to be a street anymore. He's decided, I guess, to be an adventurer or something, because now he is a wheel, and he's taken all the Dannysons at the end to go with them on a road trip to find all the people who can be part of the LGBT community and all find a place in the world. In other words, he's now made it his mission to find those in need so they can know that there's a place where you can open up, be yourself, and be accepted somewhere within the society. Oh, good luck to you, Danny. I'm guessing he's going to be a big giant motorhome or something or whatnot. I don't know, but I can't wait to see him next time. Danny's always been an interesting thing about this show. But now it's time we must go into what we must really talk about here, and that is the main focus of this episode and why it's called the Sex Patrol. You see, Rita, who's been trying to figure out how to use her powers, goes to Flex Mentallo to try to figure it out. Well, let's just say it was her idea to, as it were, do that whole sex orgasm thing again from last season, where she told Flex to actually do that this time. But unfortunately, she was getting in way too deep that it had summoned a guy from some part of the world. All I knew is that when we saw this guy, he had a telescope on his head that was attracted to Doom Manor, and then only later when these guys who come out who look like Ghostbusters, who call themselves the sex, what was the Sexmen, or I think the Sexmen, yeah. All I just know is that those guys were there because of high ratings of sex energy coming from it, and it attracted the thing that I talked about earlier that is known as the sex demon. And it turns out that Rita, going so deep into her mind with that whole sex orgasm thing, attracted that sex demon that if they didn't stop it soon enough, then it was gonna cause all the kids in the world to blink out of existence. Yeah, I'm serious. Something like that was going to bring an end to the world. It was just insane. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? This is serious? Guys, I really couldn't know what to say. But I will say, during that hunt, what made me think these guys were like Ghostbusters, for one, were their outfits, but also when you saw all these ghosts who were having sex and everything. And I'm just like, this really is feeling like Ghostbusters. Oh man, and it almost came true. The world was almost at an end with no more kids gonna be in the world until Crazy Jane as Hammerhead came in and saved the day. And speaking of Crazy Jane, yeah, like I said, she was kept prisoner from her primary physician because the people in the underground still aren't seeing why she should care about what's out there instead of focusing on the underground and protecting Kay Olivia and not protecting people out there. But when Hammerhead and all other personnels of Jane was talking with one of the agents, Cuddle, and Cuddle mentioning how all kids will be gone for good, that triggered them to make them kind of care about the outside world, because they were thinking if what happens in the outside world is going to also affect Kay Olivia, which is what caused them to rescue the entire world. But funny how in the end, whatever it was, I think it had to do with Cliff, because in the end, Cliff went. Now for this episode, he and Chief actually had a sort of civil moment of talking where Cliff decided to let go of himself, and Chief allowed that to happen by doing something to him to make him be drunk and everything. And during that whole party time, just being a party animal. But somehow, after he hugged Hammerhead, along with, I guess, everyone in the underground, decided to just let Jane be the primary again. Still don't exactly know why, but I'm sure we'll find that out soon enough. And in the meantime with Larry, well, he's still, I guess, feeling sad and stuff. I mean, he did lose his son and everything, and he can't say he's been really in the best of moods right now. I hope he gets better soon. But it did give me something I wanted from last episode, and that was Larry trying to talk with Cliff and telling them how them as messed up fathers are the ones who cause all these problems for their kids, because they didn't know how to be better fathers or deal with or take responsibility for their actions. And I really hope this helps them better develop to finally find a way to move on with their lives. But you know what? I think that's all for today. I don't think I have much more to say. Or maybe there is, but I can't stop thinking about what happened in this episode. Just nutty. But that's why I love Doom Patrol. The unpredictability, the weirdness, everything about it. This is what makes Doom Patrol so awesome. And saying all that now, I'm going to leave it all at that. And guys, if you're enjoying my videos, all you got to do is click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And until then, MegaGeekMixer signing out. Bye!